has a somersault into the end zone. 37-yard tip and catch. Jermaine Pratt tipped it for the Bengals, but Aguilar was in the right place at the right time. All right, so Joe Burrow went to the locker room. He is being checked out. And Jake Browning, who's made one appearance this year, it was week 1 against the Cleveland Browns, will take over as quarterback for the Bengals. 3rd down and 8, ball at the 11-yard line of Cincinnati. The Ravens going from right to left. Hill is in the backfield. Jackson out of the gun, takes the snap, drops back to pass, looks to his left, throws to his left side of the end zone. Caught, touchdown, Bateman. Rashad Bateman, an 11-yard touchdown reception, and the Ravens add on.
Zach, you have an update on Joe?
It looked like he sprained his wrist, so fell on it early in the game and then felt it on the touchdown pass.
Have you heard anything at all before tonight?
Not that I'm aware of.
Do you think he can come back? Can he come back this year?
I have no idea. All the information I have is 2 seconds worth, and then we went to go try to fight to win the game.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is the Border Patrol on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty with Marco Marquez. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. It is Friday, November 17, 2023. Today on the show, we will have our Friday football lineup. Stan Weber will join us at 6:30. He'll be in studio with us until just before 8 o'clock. Then we'll transition into the Border Patrol Blitz. We'll talk to Gabe DeArmond from PowerMizzou.com to preview Mizzou and Florida tomorrow night in Columbia. And then we'll talk to John Kirby from Jayhawk Slant and Matt Walters, sideline reporter for Kansas State, about the Sunflower Showdown between Kansas and Kansas State tomorrow in Lawrence. Then we'll have Dion Clisso previewing a big weekend in high school football because you've got games on Friday and Saturday. So not just Friday Night Lights, because St. Pius plays on Saturday at 1 o'clock against Odessa in the state quarterfinals. So good luck to the Warriors. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we will have Tim Grunhard from the Kansas City Chiefs and Chiefs Hall of Famer. And he will be excited to preview the Chiefs and Eagles. And he could also talk about the Sunflower Showdown because he coached in that series, in that rivalry for a couple of years. So maybe we'll get his thoughts on it. So how about that? How's that, everybody? Nate, what do you think of that lineup?
I think it's a hell of a lineup.
I always like when you text Marco and you're not sure of the Friday lineup.
Well, I just was checking to see if because sometimes Grundy's not in for the whole
I know
hour.
what the deal is. You don't want Stan in here because it's Sunflower Showdown. Stan, he tried to elbow you out of here because it gets, I'm going to tell you something. Today's the day. Today's the day when the horns come out, when the claws come out. I'm tired of passive Nate Bukaty. Aggressive Nate Bukaty's here.
You want aggressive
the
Nate
day
Bukaty,
before the Sunflower Showdown. Come on.
Nobody wants aggressive Nate Bukaty.
Is that what you trying to squeeze out Matt Walters?
It says there's an open segment right here and right here on, on the thing rundown.
You think that works out? You think that 850 is always open?
No.
Tell me the last time, what year 850 was open?
It's been a while.
2011, I think I remember.
I thought it was a cool, I thought it was a cool story relevant to the Sunflower Showdown.
Call him.
So I thought I would just check.
Squeeze him in.
All right, the Sunflower Showdown.
Put him in after Dion.
The two head coaches are collaborating.
We had a short segment on hold for possible guests through our president, Chad Boger. And he is, how can I say this? He has booking rights over you and me and Marco.
First priority.
Over everyone,
First priority.
So we had that on hold, and we didn't find out until in the 4 a.m. hour.
Okay.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
This is a 24/7 job. Is
That's
that right?
right.
Am I lying about anything what I just said?
When do you
I'm
lie?
gonna tell you
No.
that was not open until about 4:05 a.m.
Whatever that music was went right over my head. I don't get it. So
It's presidential music for Chad Boger. I like that. Can't you see him
yeah,
marching up and down the halls? All right.
yeah.
So if you wanna make a phone call and see if
Okay.
you guys available around, I don't know, 50.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's fine. We'll see. I mean, it might, like you said,
I can make that happen.
sometimes we run a little late there, so we'll see. But I'll text him and see. I'm sure he'd be willing to join us if
It was a
if we have the
fluid
time.
situation.
Yeah.
A very fluid
I get it.
situation.
Well, that's the only reason I was asking was just, hey, man, if there's something,
You were
open-
trying to elbow out a K-State guest
That's
today.
not true.
Sunflower Showdown.
It's collaborative now.
The Sunflower Showdown is
Collaborative.
that speaking engagement that you're talking about doesn't happen until 2024. I'm talking about what happens over the next 48 hours.
Right. I'm not trying to elbow. I would never
Say
try to elbow
something-
Stan Weber out of this
Say
show.
something that'll spark
Oh, God.
Stan Weber driving in here. Come on.
Dude, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that. I've had my,
You had your what?
missteps. I'm not.
Oh, you think you're done having missteps now?
No, I'm trying.
Think you're
I'm
done?
trying to be. I'm trying to.
I know I'm not done.
Be a better man. I'm trying to learn and grow in my life. So it's
Play
gonna
Better
be.
Man by Pearl Jam. Maybe that'll inspire him.
Oh yeah.
Are you at least excited?
Oh man, I'm fired up. Yeah, I'm very excited. Excite. I think. But I think I'm very clear-eyed about how big of an underdog KU is in the game. But they're not as big of an underdog as they've been almost every year for the past, 15 years, whatever
This
it
is
is.
me, and I'm not trying to stir the pot. This is just an observation. I don't think they are as big of an underdog as you portray them to be, or as you believe them to be, maybe. I think you are somewhat damaged by what's happened over the last decade and a half, and I understand that. I get that. And I think they have a better chance of winning than you are giving them, at least publicly.
Have you seen the line lately?
Look, I got people. I don't need the line.
Well, I'm just
What's the line now?
9.5. So it's moved 2 points in favor of K-State
Well,
in the last 24 hours since
then
we
why don't
talked.
you put that hand in your pocket, get yourself some of that MLS money, and put it on Kansas and take the 9.5.
I didn't say the line was wrong. I'm telling you what the line is.
But I mean, that's an opportunity.
Is it?
Yes.
You don't think that line's accurate?
Is Bean playing or not?
You tell me, man.
I think he's playing.
I think so too, but I don't know. I thought Jalen Daniels was going to come back to Kansas, but I didn't know.
5.5.
5.5.
That's what I would.
That's what I
would
told
say.
you last week, and you guys said I was
5.5.
poor mouthing KU by saying they'd be a 4 to 5 point underdog.
Well, if there was no J.C. Bean injury or whatever, then I wouldn't have it like that.
Right. What would you put it then? See, I think they'd be a 4 or 5 point underdog if there was no question about the quarterback.
If there was no question about the quarterback, I'd put it 3 or 3.5.
Okay. So, either way, KU's an underdog at home. But now they're an underdog by a couple scores. And I'm just saying I'm clear-eyed about it. I'm optimistic.
You can listen to the game right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I'm optimistic that KU's going to give them a better game than they've given them in a long, long time. And that if a lot of things break the right way, KU can win the game.
I just think Lance Leipold's a really, really good coach.
Fully agree.
So is Chris Kleiman, but
Fully agree.
I think in the past,
Yes.
this series has featured chapter after chapter of coaching mismatch,
100%.
like gigantic coaching mismatch.
100%.
And now, and this is nothing to take away from Chris Kleiman because I think he's a fabulous coach. It's not a coaching mismatch because Lance Leipold is a terrific coach.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. But Lance Leipold is took over a program in a completely different place, and he's only a couple years in. I just don't think he's had enough time yet to fully close the gap. And will
Close
he?
that gap with Oklahoma.
Well, a lot of things went KU's way. I'm saying if a lot of things, if KU gets a pick 6 in this game, and a couple other big things happen, they could win the game for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm excited
What kind
to
of
watch
chance
it.
did you give Missouri of beating Kansas State earlier this year?
I thought K-State was going to mop the floor with Missouri,
And
but I didn't
when that
realize
would happen?
I didn't realize how good Missouri was. So you happy now? I just had to give a reluctant fist bump to Steven for those that aren't
That's all I
watching
wanted
on
you
the
to say.
stream, presented by Jay Rieger and Company.
I'm done. All I wanted you to say was Missouri was good.
Missouri is really good, like really good, and I didn't realize. And they seem like they keep getting better.
They're better now than they were
Yeah.
then.
I would say, I mean, dude, that's the thing that's so exciting to me about this time is that all three schools have really good coaches. And I don't think even Missouri fans really for sure felt like they knew that at the beginning of this season with Eli Drinkwitz. But I think we could all say that he's done an incredible job now.
Exceeded expectations
And it's,
this year.
to me, like the really good coaches, we've seen it with Chris Kleiman.
Oh.
There you go. There you go. Now get everybody wound up. Can you get the coach's name right?
Oh, didn't even know his name. Looking past him
I
already.
believe Matt Kleiman played basketball at KU. Wow. Chris Kleiman, Coach Kleiman. We've seen his teams get better, as the season goes on. We saw it last year, right? And now we're seeing it with Missouri.
And look, I can't help it. I'm uneasy about the game tomorrow for Missouri. Because
Florida's 11-point faves.
Florida's A game is good, But that's just how it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Every game I'll be uneasy about now that there's something tangible writing on it.
Right.
Like throughout the season. Okay, so like before you play Georgia, you're hoping, man, if they could just go to Georgia with something on the line or with a chance to catch Georgia, and then they did, and it was a very exciting game. It didn't go their way, but there was something they were playing for, And then when you see the type of respect that the College Football Playoff Committee was giving them, then you realize, all right, despite the 2 losses to LSU and Georgia, they played very competitive football and had a chance to win either one of those games. And so now they're still in the thick of the NY6 conversation, and that's something real to play for. And so it's not just, came up short against LSU, came up short against Georgia. Let's win 10 games and go to a decent bowl. Now, NY6 will be, pretty big.
Big deal.
A chance to go to maybe a Peach Bowl that they've never gone to, or a chance to go back to the Cotton Bowl, or just. And look, even if they didn't and they were 10-2 and went to the Citrus Bowl, that would still be fantastic. But there's a carrot out there that we didn't know, we didn't anticipate would be dangling this late in the season for Mizzou. And so it's not. I don't think they're going to lose. Like I'm not one of these Mizzou fans. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I know something bad's going to happen. It's just like. Any type of game where I almost consider this like a in the postseason. You win and you're still in the conversation. You win, you climb up let's see how far they can climb up the college football playoff rankings. Let's see if they can get that NY6 bowl. So it's like as long as all the teams that are still alive for the Big 12 title game, there's that weight of this is really important. And for Kansas, no matter what is waiting for them in the postseason, it's a chance to finally beat Kansas State, so that's really important.
Yeah.
So everyone's just, I don't. Hey, I'm a little uneasy, not too much, because at the end of the day, it doesn't mean the same. But I'm excited and a little antsy about Monday night, because that's such a exciting big matchup. But even if it's different than college football, because if you lose that, that's not gonna. It could affect their chase for the number 1 seed, but at the end of the day, they still have everything in front of them, even if they lost to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, it was what a great weekend of college football and NFL and everything else. But yeah,
I wish the Mizzou game and the Sunflower Showdown were not roughly at the same time. But we've been pretty lucky for most of the year that the games have been staggered, so can't complain too much.
Well, I'm excited for St. Pius and Odessa, but I know Odessa's really, really good. I know Pius is really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what happens when you get this far. The state quarterfinals are, really, really good teams lose.
Yeah.
And, because this is where the elite teams. The very what do you call it? What do you say, Marco? The creme de cream. This is where
The exception of the very cream de cream teams.
right. That's right.
Well, this is I am very excited for the game.
You
I
have
know
nerves because you care. It's okay to be a little
Yeah.
nervous.
Well-
Marco was very. Don't be. That's what you do. You care. It's exciting. It's more excitement. Like, oh boy,
You should just, how you ease your nerves. You just go to a movie. Don't even watch the game. Just go into a movie and then
crazy.
come out of it and.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Man.
I'm going to the game.
So I like when you talk about nerves, I think there's something to lose for Missouri, right? Because you've come so far, that they maybe adds to the nerves. I don't know how much there is to lose for Kansas. Nobody's expecting them to win this game, and there's an opportunity to try to show that they've taken a step forward as a program. But like in terms of what would they lose if they lose the game? They lose a rivalry game, But they're not.
Oh man, I don't ever take anything for granted. You wish things away, or like you wish time away. Well, next year you're in Manhattan.
Yep.
You look at things like, why not now? I mean, it's an opportunity there. I'm not trying to put any bad juju out there. Who knows what happens in 2 years?
Oh, trust me.
Who knows if your chances lessen by the next time they come to Lawrence?
Right.
Who knows if it's going to be the same two coaches?
That's the big
Who
thing.
knows what the injury issue? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's
Yeah.
Don't just automatically assume, oh, we'll have a better shot next year, or we'll have a better shot in 2 years. This is a pretty damn good shot. You know?
And I'm not saying they'll have a better shot. I do think as long as Lance Leipold is there, they will be good.
Right.
They will be because the reason I think they have a shot tomorrow is because this is a good football team. This KU football team is good. They have good culture. They have kids that play hard. They have, for the most part, kids that play smart. They still make a lot of mistakes, but they're a college team. But they play hard. They play smart. They've got a really good offense that's creative and causes problems. They've got playmakers on defense, so they have a chance because of that. But I also know how good this K-State team is. You know what I mean? And how much more experience they have and how much more experience they have at winning this game than Kansas does. So I'm not sitting here saying, oh, yeah, this game's no big deal because next year's going to be the year we really beat it. Because, no, you're right.
Don't just look past this
right.
opportunity.
Yeah.
This is a golden
It's
opportunity.
the best chance they've had to beat K-State since they beat K-State.
Not all teams
probably.
are the same.
Yeah.
Injuries happen. It's all kinds of factors, But here you are. This is a game that it should be highly competitive. And this is not one of those. Yeah, it should be. I mean, why? I mean, who hasn't Kansas been competitive with?
Well, Texas, who K-State. I mean, they were competitive
what
with
was
them until the fourth quarter, but
that's kind of being competitive with them. I mean,
yeah.
no, okay.
Not like K-State was when they went down there. K-State
Right.
should have beat them. KU lost 40-14 to Texas.
Okay,
But that's the
Texas.
only one. That's the only one. They've been competitive with everybody else. You could easily say they shoulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda won the other two games they lost. So no, you're right, man. And like I said, I love this team. I love this coach. I've enjoyed every minute of watching this team play this year. And it's senior day, so it's emotional.
Yeah.
It's a small group of seniors, which is one thing that does make me optimistic again about the future. It's a small group of seniors, but there's a couple of big-time program guys in that senior class.
That's what sucks about the
What I coulda, shoulda, woulda.
expand
right.
the 12-team playoffs not starting until next year, because I honestly believe Mizzou could beat anyone in the nation.
Why couldn't they? The way they were playing against Georgia.
They went toe-to-toe with Georgia, and they've gone toe-to-toe with Georgia back-to-back years. But they would, hey, Chase Daniel was right. That would be a team that nobody would want to play in the playoffs when he said that on Monday. I mean, And like any bowl matchup, I'd be excited about because I think they could beat anybody. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But K-State on the right day could beat anyone.
Well, they gave Missouri as good of a game as anybody else has, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be. I think the Sunflower Showdown is going to be a fun game, exciting game. I'm hoping Mizzou, Florida's not. I mean, I'm not going down there and hope. Oh, I hope this is up in the air in the fourth quarter. I hope Mizzou beats the living blank out of them. That's what I hope. I want to see an ass whipping, but just because I want to see it doesn't mean it's going to happen. You know, I want to put it on Florida. Let's
Yeah.
go. You know,
How nice is that to be at a point where you're actually not just thinking about beating a program like Florida, but like hoping you kick their ass. You know,
I don't know. It's pretty good.
pretty nice.
I'm just trying to enjoy every week. I'm still, and look, I know I'm supposed to shut this out. I'm still celebrating what they did to Tennessee. I'm still watching the clips of Josh Heupel and Eli Drinkwitz calling timeouts and missed field goals and Cody Schrader being lifted off the field. That's what I try to like tell my kids and tell some of my friends that I know you got some friends who complain about wins, complain about stuff like, you know, with the Chiefs and with what these local football teams are doing, man, don't take it for granted. Enjoy, and that's why I've tried to tell. I've kind of had to tell myself that too. Like, man, don't be overly upset that they lost to LSU or lost to Georgia. Think about, man, how great it was to go and put it on Kentucky at Kentucky after all the crap that Mizzou's been through with Kentucky and after the heartbreak there. You know, how great it was to see them just humiliate Tennessee after what's happened the last couple of years. You know, and like for you, no matter what happens Saturday, I mean, you guys beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That nothing changes that, you know. And for K-State, they've had great moments already this year. They've blown out teams. They've come up short in a couple of games, but they still have an opportunity. They still have an outside chance of getting to the Big 12 title game, and they're a really good football team. And so, you know, they've just had more recent success, and so, I mean, they're defending Big 12 champs.
Yeah.
And like for the Chiefs and for Chiefs fans, yeah, they lost to the Broncos. That sucked. But they're still 7-2. They're number one in the AFC. And you saw last night, I mean, good God, the Bengals are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And let me go ahead and tell you, the Ravens, they won, but they lost Mark Andrews. It was a huge part of their football team. You know, with an ankle injury, he's going to be done for the year. And it's one thing, hey, they got through last night, they got the win, but that is a damaging blow to the Ravens. A damaging blow. And so last night, the Ravens won, but they took a big hit. And look, knock on wood, that could happen at any time to any team. We've seen that in the NFL this year.
We've had scares with Travis.
You know, we've had scares a lot of people. You know, they lost Nick Bolton, one of their best defenders, and he still hasn't come back. But I'm just watching that game last night, and I'm like, you know, and Joe Burrow hurts his wrist, and he's writhing in pain, and you know they're hiding something because they have that Zapruder filmish type of video of Joe Burrow getting off the bus, you know, yesterday with some type of splint or brace on his wrist already. You know, and so they're acting, well, we didn't know anything was going on. Well,
they took the video down.
Why was he wearing this?
He was going to go bowling. That's why I was.
You know, but I mean, it's almost, it's crazy to even imagine how like it's the AFC is just all opening up for the Chiefs when you look around. You know.
Well, that's that perspective too. That, you know, as much as we can gripe about the problems the Chiefs have. And they do have problems. Yeah. Just like every other team.
Not as many as all the other teams in the AFC.
Not as many as the other teams.
The Bills are falling apart. The Bengals are falling apart. The Ravens lost one of their most important players last night. And that sucks. I never root for injury.
No.
Because you don't, I mean, and you don't want that karma or you know, bad juju coming back on your team. But, I mean, Burrow is like, when's he going to be right? How do you bounce back from something like that?
I don't think it's a guarantee the Bengals make the playoffs.
Right. I mean, they put themselves in a situation now, and look, and then the Browns, and people just kind of look past it. They're 6-3. They're a game behind the Chiefs. a legitimate contender with that defense, and then they lose their quarterback for the entire year. Like, what the hell is going on in the AFC? Players are dropping. Teams that you expect to be shoo-ins to the playoffs are not going to be fighting every week for their playoff lives the rest of the season. And here are the Chiefs. We're 7-2. You know, we lost a couple games. But our defense is maybe one of the best in the NFL, and our offense is going to get better. But, you know, we win all these games, but not by enough. Like, that's our,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
We don't blow anyone out, but, you know, we just keep winning. Like, okay, you know?
Yeah.
If that's the worst of it, okay, I'm good. Great. It's just, bottom line is, what a great time to be a football fan in this town. No matter who you root for, whether it's K-State, KU, Mizzou, we all root for the Chiefs, for most of you. If you don't root for the Chiefs, not a great time to be in this town.
Reason to look forward to every single game.
Yeah, all of them.
That's all I've wanted as a KU football fan for a long time, was a reason to be excited to watch the games. And I've been excited to watch every single game they played this year. And every game pretty much has been worth watching.
How about this guy? He's in. Both feet. In the deep end. You're swimming now. Let's go. Swimming with the sharks. So, yeah. And again, man, I'm just watching that game like, I don't know. The Bengals, I cannot root for the Bengals.
No.
You know, I'm thinking, should I root for the Bengals? Do I need another loss on the Ravens? I'm not rooting for this team. I'm not rooting for Joe Burrow. I'm not rooting for the cheap shots, the cheap, you know.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later. You know. But the point is, the Bengals, I cannot, watching that game, like, lose, beat them Ravens, beat the hell out of them. Just get them out of the postseason. Get them out, just
not have to deal with them.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I can deal with playoff Lamar. Playoff Joe Burrow has been a different cat. But playoff Lamar, I think the Chiefs defense can handle that. We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. but I'll be honest with you. Right after the game, I dozed off in my chair. The Bengals. I mean, you know what? It might have been in the fourth quarter. I don't know. And so then I always tell Sue, like, if I fell asleep watching the game, it would just get me or whatever. And they left me, you know. And I wake up, whatever. Game's over. And so they were doing some post game, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're talking some bizarre about
I was watching when it happened.
The Chiefs need to get blown out, and they're going to get blown out on Monday night. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But I just saw that somebody recorded, and I sent it to Marco. So I want to play this for you later, Stan, and give this bizarre analysis of the Chiefs that I thought I was like dreaming. Like, what are they?
Chiefs need to get blown out by the Eagles for a wake-up call.
Yeah, they need to wake. They need to get blown out to get
to help the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And
then they'll win the.
Was there not? Did they not think Denver was a wake-up call? I mean,
They can explain that one away.
Anyway, Stan Weber joins us. Stan, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Sunflower Showdown. I like to.
All right, the Sunflower Showdown.
Thank you. There it is. No one displayed the excitement like Charlie Weiss did for this. You hear that in his voice. He brought the heat to this rivalry. And so, Stan, how do you feel right now? One day away, you'll be in Lawrence. You'll be watching this Sunflower Showdown. It's what does it mean to you? You played in it. You've called it. What does it mean to Stan Weber?
Well, it's the best college football weekend of the year for me because I really respect the rivalries. If you're a old school person who watched Nebraska play Oklahoma the Friday after Thanksgiving, or if you're really an older person, you remember them playing on Thanksgiving Day in 1971 and the game of the century. Those games are so big, and it caught everybody's attention, and there's something so cool about the rivalry. And we're not Oklahoma versus Nebraska playing for a Big 8 championship or national championship, but every time KU and K-State get a chance to play in football, I just value it so much. I grew up my whole life. Didn't matter what their records were. They were rarely fighting for championships when I was a kid watching the games, but it meant so much because everybody had an interest in their normal lives. You run into fans kind of equally of both schools, and then like you're sitting there as a Missouri fan, Stephen, it's easy for you to step in and go, wow, this has some interest to me because I see so many people engaged. And I knew, I felt that way when I moved to Kansas City and I saw Missouri and Kansas's rivalry. Growing up in the state of Kansas in Wichita, where I grew up, we knew Missouri and KU had something of a rivalry, but it was more talk than real until I got to Kansas City. And then those basketball games, like, wow, I could not wait to watch KU and Mizzou play basketball because you could just tell it meant so much to both sides. And so, yeah, it's super fun. It means a lot. It's an opportunity to play where so many people are going to be talking about it for weeks and months and everything else. And so, yeah, it's a big, big deal, and it always has been for me. And I think that K-State has given that kind of focus to it. When Bill Snyder played, when I played, it was a big deal. That was way before Bill Snyder. It was a big game. It was the game that you're going to remember and the most important game on the schedule.
Well, before we get any further, let me give a shout out to K-State's women's basketball team.
Man, how about
they
that?
Went to number 2 Iowa.
Big time.
And won on the road and beat Caitlin Clark.
Man, that's impressive.
That's tied for the Wildcats' highest ranked win in program history.
It was a big deal. I happened to watch it last night, and K-State just was very good all game long. It was a even game from start to finish until K-State, with about 2 minutes left, put the hammer down and pulled away. And I forget what kind of run they made at the end. It might have been a 7-0 run because Iowa did get ahead by as many as 4 with about 6 minutes left or so in the fourth quarter. They play quarters in the women's game. And so it looked like Iowa finally separated, but Caitlin Clark threw up a million shots. She scored around 25 points in the game, but she was a 25% shooter. She shot an air ball at the end of the game, guarded. So K-State was so sound against her, and that's the toughest place in the country to play other than where? Connecticut?
Yeah, probably UConn.
I don't know if Tennessee still has the kind of juice they did, but Iowa, in 2023-24, Iowa has to be in the top 3 toughest places to play in the country because I think they sold out Carver Hawkeye Arena for the whole women's schedule, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. A while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. when they were playing in a national championship game and NIL money and Caitlin Clark, she's such a big deal. You know, what's interesting is to see them stub their toe early. The other team that won the national championship and has all kind of NIL issues with all the money flowing in and the love of the women's basketball team is LSU.
Lost to Colorado. Yeah.
I was there.
Yep. That was in Vegas before K-State played.
And Colorado just kicked the crap out of LSU. If you didn't know that LSU was really good, you're just going, wow, this is a nice win by Colorado. They're constantly ahead by 5 to 10 the whole game. LSU never made a push at the end. Last night's game seemed like the number 2 team in the country. Iowa and K-State was very even, but K-State's got a big girl, Lee, on the inside, who they didn't have play last year, was a superstar. I think has the all-time women's scoring record
she
in
does.
a game.
Yeah.
I think they beat Oklahoma that day in Manhattan 2 years ago.
She's like 62 points or something like that in a game. It was
61 or something would be my guess. But anyway, she's back after not playing last year, and they had a lot of young players come on last year, and then the recruiting class this year is good as well. So it was a legitimate K-State win over the number 2 team in the country. So you just look and you go, I don't know how this team's not going to be a factor in the Big 12, how they're not going to be an NCAA tournament team, et cetera. Because I think if they played Iowa in a series, you'd expect Iowa at home to find a way to win a series. But, boy, they could play with them minute after minute after minute.
That was awesome. And also K-State basketball on the other side for the men. Tonight at 5 o'clock in the Bahamas, they're playing Providence with head coach.
Man,
Oh, boy, if you don't get this one, you're being deep doo-doo.
He's an old Missouri Tiger. He's a guest
come
on your
on.
show.
Oh, Kimmy. Yeah.
You know, he'd have never got that without that
Yeah,
assist.
I needed the assist.
I needed a. It's early in the morning.
Hey,
He's what year? How many years has he coached at Providence?
is this his? God, I mean, he was at when he had George Washington before. I get all those East Coast schools mixed up, man. I don't remember.
George Mason.
First year.
George Mason.
It's his first year at Providence.
First year is the answer.
Because the Providence coach is at Georgetown now.
Ed Cooley, who
I saw Providence play in the NCAA tournament because they got beat by Kentucky the game before K-State beat Kentucky. So they were down in that same region, same area. So and they got a lot of players back. So it's going to be a good game tonight. And Stephen, I wish you wouldn't rub that into me. I'm not used to missing K-State men's basketball games,
Right.
and then I'm pretty used to missing like the Bahamas trip because rarely do we sequence out with football being our first priority to do the games. Rarely can you fit in an exotic trip. Now, last year, I got to go to the Grand Cayman Islands.
That's pretty
because
good.
We played West Virginia on Saturday before Thanksgiving, flew to Grand Cayman on Sunday, played the 3 games, and got back on Friday and went ahead and did the football game with K-State and KU. So it worked out. It rarely does. You don't have to rub it in about the Bahamas. That's okay. I don't get to go on those trips very often. But missing 2 games because K-State's going to play again on Sunday, either about 11 o'clock or 1:30 Central Time. So it'll be weird to watch the game from home tonight.
Well, don't rub this in then, because I was watching the Ravens and Bengals, and then I kept, I'm trying to check in on both, and I'm trying to keep my eye on Mizzou at Minnesota, men's basketball. And then with about 11 minutes left in the game, the score is Minnesota 59, Mizzou 39. And so then I tapped out.
Is this true? This happened last night?
Yeah. So
basketball laying into football is. But I didn't even know that was happening.
Well, here you go. So here's the part that I
don't know if I believe you.
They're down 20 on the road with about 11 minutes left, and I said I'm not losing any more sleep. I'm going to bed. And then my phone starts buzzing about half an hour later or whatever. Like, I can't believe it. What a win. I'm like, what are you?
Mizzou won?
Mizzou won.
Oh, wow.
They were down 20 with 11 minutes left, and they went on a 31-9 run against Minnesota and won. I don't know.
On the road?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
I can't believe I didn't know that happened.
I can't believe that, but I can believe. Like, honestly, 20 points with 11 minutes left on a weeknight. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie to you and say, you know what, I saw the comeback happen, and I was going to. No, I can't do this anymore. I was already angry by what happened against Memphis. I said, I'm out. And they came back and won, so. But I recorded it.
Boy, things are going your way.
I don't know what happened, so we'll have to talk about that at a.
You'll have to watch the replay later today.
Right.
That point that you made, Stan, though, I think I'm glad you brought it up about Ioka Lee, because we talk so much about Caitlin Clark, deservedly so. She's a star. Ioka Lee is a star. 6'6", scoring record, all that stuff.
They both may be first-team All-American.
Yeah. And
2 of the 5.
And we're going to get to the Sunflower Showdown in a little bit. K-State and
Bet
KU,
your ass we are.
Obviously are both good in men's basketball. And on the women's side, Brenda Van Langen tweeted out last night, yeah, this is an upset, but K-State should have been ranked in the top 25 before this, and they certainly will be now. And KU's receiving votes in the top 25 in women's basketball, too. So could be a fun Sunflower Showdown on both the men's and women's side in basketball as well. So it's a pretty fun time right now around here. Really fun. And to go back to Stan's point about the rivalry,
Sunflower
you didn't
Showdown.
ask me this, but it made me think of it.
Wait a minute.
For me,
what's this rivalry mean to you, Nate?
there you go. Thank you. No,
Good question. I'm interested in the answer.
It's the real start of it. Like when I was living in Ark City, Kansas, there was a lot of K-State, fans.
Back when you were a farm boy.
Yeah, living on the farm.
Right.
I remember Matt Lewis and his mom back in 1988 telling me how KU had no chance against K-State in the NCAA tournament because that K-State team was really, really good and had already beaten them a couple times.
At now?
Matt Lewis is probably doing great. They were a wonderful family.
Hey, man.
We
Shout out
had
to you.
church group together, First Presbyterian Church in Ark
Right.
City. But in high school at Bishop Ward, most of my friends went to K-State. I had a few friends that went to KU with me, but there were a lot more of my buddies that went to K-State. So we spent a lot of weekends in Manhattan hanging out with my buddies from there, and they spent a lot of weekends in Lawrence hanging out with me. And I think that most people that went to KU or K-State can identify with that, right? And that's what makes it, I think, that's what makes a rivalry fun or sometimes not fun, because if you get your butt kicked and your buddies are just all over you, yeah, we kicked your ass again by 30, it makes it not fun. But it makes you care more because you're going to have to hear it from your friends after the game's over. And that was always kind of the thing for me. We'd get back for the holidays, and we'd watch the football games, and the trash talk would be there between you and your buddies. And the thing about it, and I've said this many, many times, K-State has lived up to their end of the bargain for decades now. It's been KU that hasn't lived up to the bargain to make this a rivalry. They haven't showed up. They haven't been good enough, first of all. They haven't had good coaches. They haven't had good teams. But then they didn't even show up. K-State has showed up every year. I can't remember the last time, and I guess maybe you could argue those games during the Ron Prince era, but even then they were games. It wasn't like KU just went. I don't remember KU just beating the crap out of K-State in those games. K-State has always showed up. They treat this like it is the rivalry that it should be. And that's where I am optimistic as a KU fan that maybe, I think probably, as long as Lance Leipold and his staff are there, KU's going to finally live up to their half of the bargain and actually make this a good game. Make this worth watching. Make it to where all those kids that are at KU and K-State right now have some real trash talk between their buddies about it. Because, and honestly, I think it's good for everybody involved. That's why we talk about this collective thing with Chris Kleinman and Lance Leipold getting together to do this. Some people might have a real problem with it. I could see some people being like, wait a second, they're going to team up to do this? In the state of Kansas, a small state with not a huge population, not a ton of, in-state recruits and all that stuff, for the two of them, the old line that a rising tide raises all boats, I think, I hope that's the case with this rivalry, especially with the new Big 12 coming in. I see no reason that these two schools can't be among the top teams in the Big 12 year after year. I think that's very possible, and I think that would elevate the profile of both schools. So that's what I'm hoping for.
All right, now we found out what this rivalry means to each of these gentlemen. Now we'll break down the game after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Hello there, Kansas City.